Hello, this is HalleluYah, uh, coming back to you with for another video. Um, we're going to get right into it, but we're going to start as I always do with a brief word of prayer. For those of you who wonder why I cover my head, I can't tell you where the verse is in the Bible, but I do know that it says for the woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered, with her hair uncovered or her head uncovered. Um, Something about disrespecting her head, and the Father is my head. Um, and I spent my life disrespecting Him, and now being awakened, I choose not to disrespect Him any further. So now knowing that I'm supposed to have my hair covered when I pray, I choose to just cover it when I pray, and then we move on. So if you can just pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for granting me this opportunity again, the opportunity to come before you as humbly and as meekly as I know how. Father, thank you. Thank you, Father, for placing the desire in my heart to run after you, to want to know you, to open your book, to open and read it and try to understand the depths and the wisdom and the knowledge there, Father. And as I always say, not egotistically, not in a tyrannical way, but in a righteous way, Father. Just to understand where we are, what I've done wrong, how to correct things, how to realign myself with you. Father, I have to go into your book to understand how to align with you. And that's what my deepest heart desire is, Father, is to be in alignment with you. To not have you look at me and say I never knew you, but to have you be proud of me as your daughter. Thank you, Father. Thank you again. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for the desire in my heart that you placed there. Thank you, Father, for those who will follow and who will come and who will want to read with me. Father, forgive my sins. Please, Father, forgive me. I'm not perfect, and you know that, Father. I don't even try to come before anyone saying that I am. I am the least perfect of your children. I've done so many wrongs, Father, but somehow you chose me. You placed it in my heart to want to align with you, to come to you, and I'm here. Father, please bless this channel. Please multiply the subscribers, multiply the people that feel led to be here. Father, and keep me here in this place of humility, this place of humbleness, this place of meekness. These are all things I ask in your name and in your Son's name. So be it, and may it be so. So we're in chapter 46, and I'm reading out of the HalleluYah scriptures. And right now we're at Bereshith, which is also referred to as Genesis. And we're going to, again, get right to it. So chapter 46, and Yasharel departed with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and brought offerings to Yah of his father Yitzchak. Isaac, I think is what that is. And Yah spoke to Yasharel in visions, in the visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am the Yah of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Mitzrayim, for I shall make you there into a great nation. I myself am going down with you to Mitzrayim, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again. And let Joseph put his hands on your eyes. And Yaakov rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Yasharel brought their family, their father Yaakov, and their little ones, and their wives, and the wagons with which Pharaoh had sent to transport him. And they took their livestock and their property, which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and came into Mitzrayim, Yaakov and all his seed with him, and his sons' sons, his daughters, and his sons' daughters, and all his seed he brought with him to Mitzrayim. And these were the names of the children of Yasharel, Yaakov and his sons who came into Mitzrayim. Reuben was Yaakov's firstborn. And the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Palu and Hezron and Carmi. And the sons of Shimon, Yemuel and Yamin and Ohad and Yachan and Tesohar and Shaul, son of a Canaanite woman. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kahath, and Merari, and the sons of Yehuda, and Onan, and Shelah, and Peretz, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Peretz were Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, and Puah, and Yob, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Serad, and Elon, and Yaleel. These were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All the beings, his sons and his daughters, were 33. And the sons of Gad, Siphon and Hagi, Shuni, and Etzban, Eri, and Arodi, and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Yimnah, and Yishwa, and Yishwi, and Bariah, and Sarai, or Sarah, their sister. And the sons of Bariah, Heber, and Mikael. These were the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter. And these she bore to Jacob, 16 beings. The sons of Rahel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin, and to Joseph in the land of Mitzrayim were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, Bele, and Becher, and Ashbel, Gera, and Naaman, Ehe, and Ras, Mepin, and Hupim, and Ard. These were the sons of Rahel, who were born to Jacob, 14 beings in all. And the son of Dan, Hushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Yatzel, and Guni, and Yetzer, and Shilem. These were the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rahel his daughter, and she bore these to Jacob, 7 beings in all. All the beings who went with Jacob to Mitzrayim, who came from his body, besides Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 beings in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Mitzrayim, were 2 beings. All the beings of the house of Jacob who went to Mitzrayim were 70. And he sent Yehuda before him to Joseph to point out for him the way to Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. And he appeared to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a long time. And Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive." And Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I am going up to inform Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who were in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are shepherds, and they have been men of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall be, when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation, that you shall say, your servants have been men of livestock from our youth even till now, both we and also our fathers, so that you dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Mizrahites." Chapter 47. Then Joseph went to and spoke to Pharaoh and said, My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess have come from the land of Canaan. And see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, What is your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, We have come to dwell in the land, because there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the scarcity of food is severe in the land of Canaan. And now please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mitzrayim is before you. Settle your father and brothers in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know of capable men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock. And Joseph brought in his father Yaakov and stood him before Pharaoh, and Yaakov brought Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Yaakov, How many are the days of your life? And Yaakov said to Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojournings are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojournings. And Yaakov barak Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Mitzrayim, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with bread for the mouth of the little ones. Now there was no bread in all the land, because of the scarcity of food was very severe, and the land of Mitzrayim and all the land of Canaan became exhausted from the scarcity of food. And Joseph gathered up all the silver that was found in the land of Mitzrayim and the land of Canaan, for the grain which they brought. And Joseph brought the silver into Pharaoh's house. And when the silver was all spent in the land of Mitzrayim and in the land of Canaan, all the Mizrites came to Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the silver is gone. And Joseph said, Give your livestock, and I give you bread for your livestock, if the silver is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks they owned, and for the herds they owned, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when that year had ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, We do not hide from my master that our silver is all spent, and my master also has the livestock we own. There has not any been left before my master but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and let us and our land be servants of Pharaoh, and give us seed, and let us live and not die, and let the land not lie waste. And Joseph brought the entire land of Mitzrayim for Pharaoh, because every man of the Mizrites sowed his field, because the scarcity of food was severe upon them, and the land came to be Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into the cities from one end of the borders of Mitzrayim to the other end. Only the ground of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had allotments from Pharaoh, and they ate their allotments which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their ground. And Joseph said to the people, Look, I have brought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall be that in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 is your own, as seed for the field and for your food, and those of your households, and as food for your little ones. And they said, You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the eyes of my master, and we shall become Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Mizraim to this day that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the ground of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. And Yashar dealt in the land of Mizraim, in the land of Goshen. And they had possessions there, and bore fruit, and increased exceedingly. And Yaakov lived in the land of Mizraim 17 years. So the length of Yaakov's life was 147 years. And the time for Yashar to die drew near, and he called his son Joseph and said to him, Now if I have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh and show kindness and truth to me. Please do not bury me in Mizraim, for I shall lie with my fathers, and you shall take me up out of Mizraim and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I do as you have said. And he said, Swear to me. And he swore to him, and Yashar bowed himself on the head of the bed. Chapter 48. And after these events, it came to be that it was said to Joseph, See, your father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Yaakov was told, See, your son Joseph is coming to you. And Yashar straightened himself and sat up on the bed. And Yaakov said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and barak me, and said to me, See, I am making you bear fruit, and shall increase you, and make of you an assembly of peoples, and give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mizraim before I came to you in Mizraim, are mine. As Reuben and Shimon, they are mine. Your offspring, who you shall bring forth after them, are yours, and let them be called by your name of their brothers in their inheritance. And I, when I came to Paddan, Rahel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when they were but a little distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Yisrael saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom Yah has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me, and let me barak them. And the eyes of Yashar were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew them near and kissed them and embraced them. And Yashar said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Yah has also shown me your seed. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Yashar's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Yashar's right hand, and brought them near him. And Yashar stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he baraked Joseph and said, Yah, before whom my fathers Abraham and Yashik walked, the Yah who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil, barak the youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great, and yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. And he baraked them on that day, saying, In you Yashar shall barak, saying, Yah make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yashreel said to Joseph, See, I am dying. Excuse me. See, I am dying, but Yah shall be with you and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite with my sword and my bow. Okay, chapter 49. And Yaakov called his sons and said, Gather together, so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov, and listen to Yashreel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my power, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of exaltation and the excellency of power. Unstable as the waters, you do not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Shimon and Levi are brothers. Their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their council. Let my esteem not be united to their assembly. Because they slew a man in their displeasure, and they lamed an ox in pleasure. Cursed be to their displeasure, for it is fierce, and their wrath for it cruel. I divide them in Yaakov and scatter them in Yashreel. You, Yehuda, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's cub. From the prey you have gone up, my son. He bowed down, he crouched like a lion, and like a lion who rouses him. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him is the obedience of peoples. Binding his donkey to the vine and his donkey's coat to the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun dwells at the seashore. He is a haven for ships, and his border is under Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens. And he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, and he inclined his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a subject to slave labor. Dan rightly rules his people as one of the tribes of Yasharel. Dan is a serpent by the way, an adder by the path that bites the horse's heels so that its rider falls backwards. I've waited for your deliverance, O Yah. Gad, a raiding band, raids him, but he raids its heel. Bread from Asher is rich, and he gives delicacies of a sovereign. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He gives words of elegance. Joseph is an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree, an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Yaakov. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Yashreel, from the Yah of your father who helps you, and by El Shaddai who brought you with Barakoth of the Shamaim above, Barakoth of the deep that lies beneath, Barakoth of the breast of the womb. The Barakoth of your father has excelled the Barakoth of my ancestors up to the limit of the everlasting hills. They are on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Benjamin is a wolf that tears. In the morning he eats prey, and at night he divides the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Yasharel, and this is what their father spoke to them. And he baraked each one according to his own barakah. And he commanded them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham brought with the field of Ephron the Hittite as a possession for a burial site. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Yishak and Ribkah his wife, and there I buried Leah. This the field purchased and the cave which is in it from the stones of Heth. And when Jacob ended commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Chapter 50. And Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants and the physicians to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Yasharel. And 40 days were completed for him, for so are completed the days of embalming. And the Mizrites wept for him 70 days. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak to in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, See, I am dying. Bury me in my grave, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. And now please let me go up and bury my father in return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Israel, and all the house of Joseph, and his brothers, and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks, and their herd they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan. And they lamented there with a great and very heavy lamentation. And he observed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for the Mitzrites. That is why its name was called Abel Mitzrayim, which is beyond the Jordan. And his sons did to him as he had commanded them. For his sons brought him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave brought of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, which is Abraham brought with the field from Ephron the Hittite as property for a burial site. And after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Mitzrayim, he and his brothers. He and his brothers, and all who went up with him to bury his father. And when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, What if Joseph hates us and pays us back all the evil which we did to him? And they sent word to Joseph, saying, Before your father died, he commanded you, saying, This is what you are to say to forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sins, for they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgression of your servants of Yah, of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And his brothers also went and fell down before his face. And they said, See, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Do not fear, for I am in the place of Yah. Okay. And you intended evil against me, but Yah intended it for good, in order to do as it is this day, to keep a great many people alive. And now do not fear. I provide for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Joseph dwelt in Mitzrayim, but Mitzrayim, he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw afraid Ephraim's children to the third generation, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, until also uh, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were also brought up to Joseph's knees. And Joseph said to his brothers, I'm dying, but Yah shall certainly visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Ishak, and to Jacob. And Joseph made the children of Yashar swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring up my bones from there. And Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was placed in a coffin in Mitzrayim. Okay, we are entering Shemath, which is Exodus, and we're beginning where we begin at the beginning. Shema, Exodus chapter 1. Okay, and these are the names of the children of Yasharel who came to Mitzrayim with Yaakov, each one with his household. Reuben, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher, and all those who were descendants of Yaakov were 70 beings, and Joseph was already in Mitzrayim. And Joseph died, and all his brothers and all that generation. And the children of Yasharel bore fruit and increased very much, multiplied and became very strong, and the land was filled with them. Then a new sovereign arose over Mitzrayim who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, see, the people of the children of Israel are more and stronger than we. Come, let us act wisely towards them, lest they increase. And it shall be when fighting befalls us that they shall join our enemies and fight against us, and shall go up out of the land. So they appointed slave masters over them, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they increased and grew, and they were in dread of the children of Yasharel. And the Mishrites made the children of Israel serve with harshness, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick and in the kinds of work in the field. All their work which they made them do was with harshness. Then the sovereign of Mitzrayim spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other was Pua. And he said, when you deliver the Hebrew women and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall put him to death. But if it's a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives revered Yah and did not do as the sovereign of Mitzrayim commanded them, and kept the male children alive. So the sovereign of Mitzrayim called for the midwives and said to them, which have done, I'm sorry, why have you done this and kept the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Mizraite women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. So Yah was good to the midwives, and the people increased and became very numerous. And it came to be because the midwives revered Yah that he provided households for them. And Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, "Throw every son which is um, throw every son who is born into the river, and keep alive every daughter." Okay, so Shema or Exodus chapter 2. And a man of the house of Levi went and married a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bore a son. And she saw that he was a lovely child, and she hid him 3 months. And when she could hide him no longer, she took an ark of papyrus for him and coated it with tar and pitch, and put the child in it and laid it in the reeds by the edge of the river. And his sister stood at a distance to know what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river with her young women, where and her young women were walking by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her female servants to get it, and opened it and saw the child, and see the child wept. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the children of the Ibrahim." And his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." And the girl went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me. Then I shall pay your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moshe, saying, "Because I have drawn him out of the water." And in those days it came to be, when Moshe was grown, that he went out to his brothers and looked at their burdens. And he saw a Mitzrite beating an Ibri, one of his brothers. So he turned this way and that way, and when he saw no one, he smote the Mitzrite and hid him in the sand. And he went out the second day and saw two Ephraim fighting, and he said to the one who did the wrong, "Why do you smite your neighbor?" And he said, "Who made you a head or and judge over us? Do you intend to slay me as you slew the Mitzrite?" And Moshe feared and said, "Truly, the matter is none." And Pharaoh heard of this matter, and he sought to kill Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a wall. And the Kohen of Midian had 7 daughters. And they came and drew water, and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. But the shepherds came and drove them away. Then Moshe stood up and came to the rescue, and went to and watered their flock. And they came to Reuel, their father, and said, "How is it that you have come so soon today?" And they said, "A Mizraite rescued us from the hand of the shepherds, and he also drew enough water for us and watered the flock." And he said to his daughters, "And where is he? Why did you leave the man? Call him and let us eat bread. Call him and let him eat bread." And Moshe agreed to dwell with the man, and he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moshe. And she bore him a son, and called his name Gershom, for he said, "I have become a sojourner in a foreign land." And it came to be after these many days that the sovereign of Mitzrayim died, and the children of Yasharel joined against the slavery, and they cried out. And their cry came up to Yah because of their slavery. And Yah heard their groaning, and Yah remembered his covenant with Abraham and Ishak and with Yaakov. And Yah looked on the voice of Yasharel and ended now. I'm sorry, and Yah knew. And Yah looked on the children of Yasharel and Yah knew. Okay, apologies. Okay, Exodus or Shema, chapter 3. And Moshe was shepherding the flock of Yithro, his father-in-law, the Kohen of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of Yah. And the messenger of Yah appeared to him in the flame of a fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked and saw the bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, "Let me turn aside now and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn." And Yah saw that he turned aside to see, and Yah called to him from the midst of the bush and said, "Moshe, Moshe." And he said, "Here I am." And he said, "Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is Kadesh ground." And he said, I am Yah of your fathers, the 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 Yah of Abraham, the Yah of Yishak, and the Yah of Yaakov. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Yah. And Yah said, "I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Mitzrayim, and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I knew their sorrows, and I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Mizrahites, and to bring them up from that land to the land of space, to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the places of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. And now, see, the cry of the children of Yasharel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Mizrahites oppress them. And now come, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Yasharel, out of Mitzrayim." And Moshe said to Yah, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Yasharel out of Mitzrayim?" And he said, "Because I am with you, and this is to you the sign that I have sent you, when you have brought the people out of Mitzrayim, you are to serve um, okay, you are to serve Yah on this mountain." And Moshe said to Yah, "See, when I come to the children of Yasharel and say to them, the Yah of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them?" And Yah said to Moshe, "I am that which I am." And he said, "Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you." And Yah said further to Moshe, "Thus you are to say to the children of Israel, Yah of your fathers, the Yah of Abraham, the Yah of and the Yah of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Go, and you shall gather the elders of Yasharel together, and say to them, Yah, Elohim of your fantasies, the Elohim of Abraham and Yitzchak and of Yaakov appeared to me, saying, I have indeed visited you and seen what is done to you in Mitzrayim. And I say, I am bringing you up out of the affliction of Mitzrayim to the land of Canaanite and the Hittites and the Amorite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey, and they shall listen to your voice, and it shall come you and the elders of Yasharel to the sovereign of Mizraim, and you shall say to him, Yah of the Ibrim has met with us. And now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, to slaughter to Yah, or our Elohim. But I know that the sovereign of Mitzrayim is not going to let you go, not even by a strong hand. And I shall stretch out my hand and smite Mitzrayim with all my wonders, which I shall do in its midst. And after that he shall let you go. And I shall give this people favor in the eyes of the Mizrahites, and it shall be that when you go, you shall not go empty-handed, but every woman shall ask from her neighbor and from the stranger in the house objects. Okay. But every woman shall ask from the neighbor and from the stranger in the house objects of silver and objects of gold and garments, and you shall put them on your sons and on your daughters, and shall plunder the Mitzrahites. Okay. All right. So we're going to stop there for today. At Exodus or Shemath, we concluded with chapter 3, and we will begin in Exodus or Shemath chapter 4, the HalleluYah scriptures tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.